If you've ever struggled with finding the time to grow your Etsy print-on-demand shop, or if you're just not quite sure how to maximize the time that you do have, welcome to part 5 of a new series where I walk you through the time blocking strategies that I use to efficiently build my 6-figure Etsy print-on-demand shop in just pockets of time. We are in the home stretch, and today's time block is all about the process of finalizing our listings in Etsy that we synced from Printify in part 4, that are based on the research, designs, and mock-ups that we made in parts 1 through 3. So if you haven't seen the first few videos of this series, definitely go back and check them out because they all lead up to this moment of finally having our batch of 12 designs completed and listed. So what makes this different from other strategies you've probably heard of when growing your Etsy print-on-demand business from scratch? Well, if you're new to my channel, I happen to run an entirely other 6-figure handmade business full-time, which means that when I set out to grow this brand new Etsy print-on-demand shop and have it ready in time for Q4 back in 2022, I needed to be super strategic and extremely efficient with the limited amount of time that I had to actually work on it. In case we haven't met yet, my name is Mandy, and as the owner of multiple 6-figure businesses, including Etsy print-on-demand shops, my goal is to provide you with strategies to simplify the journey and scale your business faster so that you can thrive with print-on-demand. If you're just joining in, the purpose of this series is to cover how I spend my time in what I call time blocks and the very intentional activities that I accomplish in these small pockets of time in order to move my shop forward not only quickly, but effectively. Now these have been some pretty long and intense videos, as I've brought you on this over-the-shoulder view on exactly what I do in these different time blocks, and that was very intentional. I firmly believe that so many of the fast and quick approaches that you often hear about when starting a new Etsy print-on-demand shop don't actually work unless you truly understand the nuances that go into leveraging research and demand and how to effectively create designs and products based on that in order to actually make them successful. And the reality is, if you skip over this important stuff because you think it's too boring, or it takes too long, or it doesn't matter, then you're wasting the time and effort that you are putting into building a business, because it will be a constant uphill battle, and you'll probably get really frustrated at your lack of results. And as the saying goes, don't complain about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. That is why this series has been all about taking a deep dive into my full process with no stone left unturned. And again, it was a very intentional for someone who, like me, doesn't have a whole lot of time to spend on it, but still wants to do the work to be a successful shop. So this included things like researching trends and designs and keywords, then using that research as the basis for creating designs that will resonate with an ideal customer or target audience, then getting all of those designs onto mockups super efficiently, and then finally getting them actually created as products with my print-on-demand provider, and then eventually listed on Etsy. As a recap from the last 4 videos, remember the entire focus on the research was looking at a sub-niche for an additional section in the dog mom shop that I built specifically for being able to share here on my channel. We discovered together that the Doberman Pinscher breed would be a good direction to go based on Etsy searches and relatively low competition. Then we looked more intentionally at trending design styles, market demand on Etsy based on keyword searches, gaps in the marketplace, as well as products that were already selling well. And while we were searching, we also made some notes of some strong keywords that would make great additions for our tags and our titles in those later steps. I then took you behind the scenes on my design and mock-up batching process as I batch created 12 designs based on all of that research. Then we took those designs, got them batched onto mockups in Canva, got our listing videos ready, and then in the last segment, I walked you through how I quickly created these products for each of these designs in Printify so that they would sync automatically to Etsy and be waiting for us. You'll recall that for each of these videos, I'm using roughly 30 minutes as my benchmark for each time block. But in actual practice, sometimes it depends on what else I'm working on and what my schedule looks like for the day. The beauty of time blocking though, and why I use it in my day-to-day life to run these businesses, is that I can break down tasks into different sections. And in doing so, it ensures that I can focus on one particular part of the process much more efficiently because I'm essentially repeating the same thing over and over again in the same context of work. So whether you have just small pockets of time or bigger chunks of time available in your day, you're able to still move your shop forward. For example, if I have 15 minutes while I'm waiting around for a doctor's appointment, I might pull up my phone and start browsing Pinterest or one of the other trendy sites to start getting some inspiration, get some screenshots of designs that I might want to tackle, or some different color palettes that I might want to integrate into my next design. Or if I happen to have a full hour to work on things, I might spend the first 30 minutes batching out my designs and then the next 30 minutes batching out my mockups, instead of task switching on those and trying to do them all at the same time and having to flip-flop between different systems and different activities. For the purposes of this series, I broke down this listing phase into 2 parts, because again, when I'm actually doing my time blocks, I am focused on staying in one place, in one system, and repeating the same steps over and over again for a particular batch. When you are mentally switching back and forth between tasks, sometimes called task switching, or if you're trying to be the superhero and do it all at once with multitasking, studies show that you can be anywhere between 40 to 80% less productive when you're trying to either switch between tasks or multitask. And that's because of the effort required, even momentarily, for you to mentally switch from one task to another and back again. By not hopping back and forth between activities and systems and tasks, you're able to move a lot faster and accomplish a lot more in a shorter amount of time, because you get really efficient at those steps. Now, since we got most of the basics of our listings completed in the last video in Printify, they're all now waiting for us in Etsy. So today we'll be focused on getting all of those listings finalized and published so that by the end of this video, this shop will have 12 new complete listings added to the shop. Before I head into Etsy, I want to make sure, again, I have a few things organized and ready to go. First, I'm going to have my mockup folder where I saved all of my individual mockup files last time along with the corresponding listing video. Remember, these are completely ready to go. And then I also want to have my keyword list up so that I can refer back to it when I'm adding in additional tags for my listings. As I shared in previous videos, now that I'm all the way up to this listing phase, I don't need to stop and think and go back and find more keywords. That was the whole purpose of having a foundation in spending time on research. I've already got a baseline understanding of the niche, the keywords, and tags that are performing well. We also did a little bit of research on our target audience so that we'd be able to use words and phrases that they're likely to use as they're searching for items on Etsy. I can't stress enough that that is why research is so critical. Most of the time, I'm actually spending more time on the research phase than I am on the design phase. And that's because once I've done the hard part of researching, the designs and creation of the actual listings comes a lot faster. You need to be able to take your knowledge and learning, understand your ideal customer and how they will be searching for an item, not necessarily how you would search for it, and put that all together in the forms of titles and tags. Remember, each of these time blocks that I've covered, whether it's doing full-scale research or sitting down to batch lots of new designs or creating your products and coming up with all the titles, they're all based on different skills. Some of them you'll probably be faster at than others, and that's okay. The more you practice these skills over time, the faster you become, and the more you're able to accomplish more effectively in less time. The goal is progress, not perfection. So now that we've got everything organized and ready, let's dive in with part 5 and finish off these listings, shall we? Now remember in the last video, we saved all of these new products as hidden. So that means they published to Etsy, but they are here in the draft folder. So they're all here and ready for us, and we can dive right in. So I'm just going to start at the top. We'll start with our monochromatic Doberman. Again, we don't need these mockups in here. We want to add the ones that we created already. So I'm going to add those. And since they're all in one place, I can easily grab all of my images and open them at the same time and they will load. While they're loading, I'm going to grab my video, which is also in the same folder. So it's nice and fast. When we get to the About section, another company made this because we have our production partner as Printify. For primary and secondary colors, we'll choose what makes the most sense for the design. Remember, that's about the design, not the product. Size and sustainability, I usually skip. Sleeve length, these are all long sleeve sweatshirts and they are pullovers. Clothing style, it will vary depending on what I'm listing. In this particular case, I'll go with more of the boho and hippie style. Occasion, holiday, I only add these if they are relevant to the listing. These essentially show up as additional tags, and so they need to be relevant to whatever your design or product is based off of. Because it's a dog mom design, I'm not terribly worried about occasion or holiday because they're not specifically related to either of those. For graphic, it's an animal, and then I usually set it to automatic renewal. Again, all of this was already added in Printify, so we can skip right over that and keep going. We want to make sure we have our printing partners selected, so we've got SwiftPod, and then section. So because this is a new section, I can actually add it right here. And so we'll just call it Doberman Pinscher, and we'll save. Now with these sections, just like with keywords and tags, I do try to get specific. So if I've got room in here, I might have also done Doberman gifts or Doberman mom. Because Doberman Pinscher was specifically a good keyword in our search that we had previously done, I am okay in this case with just calling what it is, Doberman Pinscher. For tags, my little trick with these is I will actually grab my title because we do want some repetition here. I know there's quite often conflicting information around tags and titles, and do they need to be completely different? And the answer is no. In fact, we want some similarities with our tags and titles because again, that will help give Etsy some direction on what our listing is all about and who it should be showing it to. So I start with my title, and what I do is I will copy and paste it in if there's any short keyword phrases in here. So for example, if I paste this in and say I already had a short phrase in here with a comma and I did that, it's automatically going to bring those down into the tags. And what makes this easy is because we already have those long tail keyword phrases in the title, I can turn these very quickly into short tags with just a few adjustments in some cases. So I might say retro Doberman and then Pinscher shirt. So again, Etsy is smart enough to know that because these are in order and because they're all related to single listing, that it will combine these correctly in terms of search phrases. For cottagecore, I could say that this is cottagecore sweater is another good phrase that comes up quite a bit. Monochromatic, I'm going to go with monochromatic shirts in this case to make it a little more specific. Now we're down to a Doberman Dog Mom sweatshirt. And so I'm going to do something along these lines, Doberman Dog and then Dog Mom sweatshirt. So now we have 4 left in our tag. And so what I can do is I'm going to look back at the keywords that I had saved from when we were doing our research. So Dobie, we've got dog sweater in there, dog face shirt, pet lover. So we don't have any of those. So let's go with Dobie Mom gifts because again, we want to think about search terms that people will be using either for themselves or in this case for recipients. So it could be a gift for a Doberman Dog Mom. You can say dog face sweatshirts, and then we can say new dog owner. And then I want to bring in Dobie again, so I'm going to say Dobie owner gift. And that gives us all 13. Relatively quick because again, we pulled in from our title and we pulled in from the research that we had already done. So let's keep rolling. Inventory and pricing, don't need to touch any of that. It already came over from Printify. Now when we get down here, because I already set off my photos to load already, by the time I get down here, I can click on link photos. I want to link color. I do this so that when a customer selects a color from the drop down on the actual listing, it will then change to the color of the actual shirt based on the picture. So I want to match ash with ash. I'm going to match dark heather. Got maroon, navy, sand, sport gray, and white. Oh, one more. And black. And save. So now all of those colors are associated with each of the colors in the drop down. This one doesn't have personalization. We've got our SwiftPod in there for our shipping profile already because we already did that from our last one. And my default is no returns or exchanges. We'll hit publish and that's done. So next we can move on to the Christmas one. Same process, we're going to delete the mockups and we will kick off our upload of all of our mockups as well as our video. Other company, repeat the process here. So there's some red in there and there's some green, which makes sense. It's Christmas themed. We're going to select long sleeve, pull over, clothing. We did kind of the retro style with this one again. So we'll go with boho and hippie. Now in this case, because it specifically got a Christmas theme, I'm going to select Christmas from the holiday list. Again, only do it if it's relevant to the actual design or the product itself. The graphic in this case is a phrase or saying, automatic again. We've already got this information in here. We now have our Doberman category. And in this one, I am going to skip the tags and I'll show you why at the end. So get down here, link the photos. Depending on how fast we're moving and how fast your internet is, we might have to wait a second for these to be loaded. But as these come in, we can start connecting them. Again, sometimes I actually tend to move faster than my computer or the internet does. So sometimes I have to slow down just a little from what I could actually do if I were just moving at the pace that I want to, but that's okay. So we'll get all of our colors here. One more, forest green, save, come down here, skip all this, it's all ready to go, and publish. That's 2 down. Now I'm going to keep going and I'm going to do the Halloween Doberman dog. So we'll select that one. Now you may have noticed that I am still using the old version of the Etsy listing screen because I use a very specific process that's already quite efficient. The new version of the Etsy listing screen is not quite as efficient. The screen itself is a little bit messier. Things are in a different order, so the flow is just different. And so for now, that is why I continue to use this old one and keep switching back until they're ready and until it's in a more finalized state. And maybe in the next one, I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. So we'll go with that. So for occasion, again, this is a holiday themed one. It's Halloween, so we'll go with Halloween on this one. Graphic, we can go with, it's not really horror per se, but it's kind of in that same theme and what it's intended to be, so we'll go with automatic. Could also be the same as the last one where we did a phrase or saying. That would be perfectly fine too. Section, we're going to do it by Doberman. Now depending on how many sections I have, sometimes I will have a separate holiday section and sometimes I won't. In this particular case, because my shop is specifically built around different breeds, I have anything, even if it's holiday or Halloween or Christmas, I save them all to that one breed so that when a shopper comes and visits my shop, whether it's from a search result or directly after they've already bought something from me, they can go directly to the breed that they want and find everything there versus having a mix of their breed in a cottagecore category or having to find their breed in a Christmas or fall category. So it kind of depends a little bit on how you structure your shop and what your different options are, but that is why I do it this way. Now in my other shop, because it's got a variety of different niches, in that one, I do have a separate Christmas or winter category and I have a separate fall Halloween style of category. And so that is why there's a difference there. Again, not personalized, so we can skip all that. Again, I told you I'm going to come back and do the tags for the rest of these at the end for a very specific reason. Got another one published. We'll come over to camping. And then just to show you the difference, I'm going to switch to the new version and show you how it's different. So again, you'll be able to come in here and delete all of them. One nice thing about the new one is you can actually, when you select all of them, you can actually grab your video as well. So that is one nice little benefit of the new one. We'll scroll down. Personalization, you'll notice, is at more towards the top versus the bottom with the other one. Now when we get to these variations, that's where it's a little bit more cumbersome because you have to do a couple clicks versus really just one. So we'll go into manage variations, and then to associate your color, you'll need to come to this colors variation and go to edit, and then you need to click on link photos, and then you'll be able to link photos to each of them. So that, again, it's not a huge deal, but it is a couple extra steps that just slows down that flow a little bit. And because I'm focused on fewer steps and being efficient, just those few little nuances can make a difference. And so ash, I want this one, sand, sport gray, and white, and those are good. So that looks fine. These are all good. And again, because there's not a nice little drop down, you have to click into these, and so then to do that, to change to another company of who made it, we have to click in and select it, and then you have to click in here to select as well. So there's a few extra clicks which can be a little bit annoying. The primary color, we had some blue and some brown, so we'll select those colors. Sleeve length, it's a long sleeve. Again, attributes, instead of all of it being on in one place, so you can just select it, you have to click again. And so it's pullover. Clothing style, we can say it's a little more on the preppy side. Occasion, holiday doesn't particularly fit. This one does have graphic. You'll notice that these aren't in the correct alphabetical order, so again, just another little thing that can be a bit annoying. We'll skip tags and materials. We've got that. It's got our SwiftPod already in there. So again, there's a lot of, some of this is just alerts and things that are new and different, but again, for my brain, it's a lot more cluttered and there's a lot more going on. It's harder to find the things that you're used to looking at, so it's just different. I'm sure we'll all have to get used to it at some point, but for now, it's not my favorite. The other thing I was going to show you for our primary photo, with the older version, the order that you upload them in is what it grabs, and so the first photo is normally the primary. Here, it grabbed a totally different one, so we'll need to move that around. If we need to crop it, we can do that here. Usually I take a look at it just kind of as is first, and then if we need to make adjustments later, we can. So like for example, that looks fine. So we'll go to our next one. Doberman, I'm switching back to the old version, as you might have guessed. So we'll delete our mockups out of here, and then we'll grab row images, pull those in, grab our video, add that, pull these down. For these, it's more of a black and gray, so select some different colors there. Long sleeve, pullover. Again, all of these things that were kind of all over the place in the new version are much more streamlined here. So just different. Doberman, skip those for now. We'll link photos. Ash, sand, sport gray, and white. save. Scroll down, all of our defaults are there. So we'll publish. The only other quirk of the old version is you have to push publish twice. Why? I don't know. It's a weird glitch, but it is. I'm going to do these personalized ones at the end. So for now, I'm going to go to the Thanksgiving one, grab our thankful Adobe, grab all of our colors, grab our video. Again, all of these little things that we did leading up to this are what make this process so much faster. And that is the whole point of working in batches, doing particular activities together repeatedly so that we can get really fast and efficient at each one of those tasks, so that when it all kind of comes together, it's a lot faster. Holiday, I'm going to do Thanksgiving, SwiftPod, Doberman. We'll link our photos here. Ash, dark heather, navy, sand. This is the other reason why I only do so many colors for each of my listings. If you've got 16 colors here, you have to have a color chart. And it can be a little harder for customers to then know exactly what they're getting with each color, because it's really hard to tell from those color charts. However, if you have if you keep it a little bit more minimal in terms of color options, remember we said last time 6 or 7. I know I have a few extra here, and that's okay. But by keeping those reduced, it makes not only the decision process easier for the customer in most cases, it's also going to give you the ability to link every single color. If you have a ton of colors that you're offering, then you won't be able to link them all because you're only still going to get those 10 spots. Again, just keeping that in mind as you are creating these different options and just thinking about it in practicality and that customer experience can make a difference. Not really an occasion here. We'll go with phrase, go with SwiftPod, Doberman, link, ash, dark heather, navy, sand, sport green, white, black, forest, save. We already know the rest is there, so we can publish. So we are in a really good shape. So we've got one more, and then the rest will be personalization ones, which are a little bit different. So we'll delete those. This is the one that has the hearts on it, so we'll grab that one. And again, I'm not sitting and waiting for all of this to load. It'll do that all on its own. I can keep working on the rest, which is why I like doing it that way. I don't have to stop. I don't have to do it individually. I can just keep moving. What colors we had? Orange and blue. We'll say are the colors for this one. Long sleeve pullover. Going to go with minimalist again on this one, and we'll go with phrase. So as we go, by the time again we get down to the bottom, as long as the Etsy uploads are cooperating, as long as my internet is cooperating, I can usually move through those very, very quickly. Publish. Okay, so now we're down to personalized, and so for this one, most of it is the same process for this one. So I'm going to grab my pocket design, and this part is exactly the same. We still have a video for it. We'll still select our colors. This one has more brown in it. Still select all of our attributes. This one we have an actual animal in it, so we can select that because it's a little bit closer. SwiftPod, all of this is the same. And then we'll link our photos just like we normally do. Grab each of our colors. And so then when we get down to our variations, I'm going to delete each of the SKUs that are in here. And that is because when an order comes through to Printify, I don't want it to go in with the rest of the orders. I want it to go to that other orders tab in Printify where personalized orders go. I have a video all about personalization if you want to take a deeper dive into what that looks like on the back end when an order comes through. I'll link that for you. But essentially we want to remove these SKUs so that it's not directly connected to an item in Printify, because no matter what, for a personalized item, we're going to have to make changes and upload a new design for that. And that's why we create the template in Printify, because then we can just keep reusing that, and it's a lot faster. Because remember, especially for these pocket designs, we already have it sized and we messed around with the placement to get it just right, so that when an order comes in, we can start there as a template, match the exact sizing of the design, because it'll be identical other than just the name that gets changed, and then it's easy to go and we can attach it to the order. So by taking out these SKUs, I know that when an order comes in, it will be separated. I don't have to worry about it getting mixed in with a regular order. And so that is why we take out the SKUs. But the benefit is that by having it initially connected in Printify and starting there, because of how I personally do my pricing by using a profit margin percentage, it's a lot easier to have all that in here and not have to type in every single one of these prices. Yes, they're all a little bit different, but that's just how I've chosen to do my pricing strategy, and it's worked out well, because then by using a profit margin, I make sure I'm not actually losing any money on any of the orders. So then when we get down to personalization, this is where we turn that on, and we have to make sure we give direction to our customers so that they know what to put here. So depending on what the personalization is, in this case, it's very simple. They need to include the dog's name as part of what's needed on the order. And so please enter the name of the dog that you would like on the shirt. And then I'll usually give an example. So I could say example Duke. And so then if we look over here, we can see this is what it will look like on the listing itself when it's asking for personalization. We don't want it to be optional because we want there to be a name on it. Every once in a while, someone will say, can you just leave the name blank? And of course we can do that because we're making them all to order. But otherwise, we want to make sure that it is not optional so that Etsy does stop them and prevent them from pushing through the order before they have filled this in. So then from there, all of the rest is completely normal, and so we can publish. And then for our last personalization, we'll go into this one, delete our mockups. This is our white letters, so we can grab that. Grab our video just like normal, and then just like everything else, we're selecting it. There is only one color, so for that one I'm only selecting a primary color of white as part of the design. Our usual long sleeve pull over, it's minimalist, graphic is phrase. Now there are programs out there like Vela, VELA. It's an online app that you can use and connect it to Etsy. There's a small monthly fee associated with it. It actually is part of Etsy integration. So if you go to the integrations spot over here in your shop, you will see it there. That is one option for doing bulk listings. So if you're doing something like this and you're going through and doing a bunch of listings all at the same time, or if you're wanting to make changes all at the same time, that is one option you can do. I have found that when I do it this particular method, when I'm bringing them all over at once from Printify, that by the time I mess around and get all of my settings right on the actual bulk edits with Vela, that it's actually about the same amount of time, especially since you're waiting for uploads of photos and things like that. That's no different over there, but it is one option. Some things like this are going to be a lot fussier in another system. That's part of why I've just gotten to the point where I just do it in Etsy, because I can, as you see, I can just fly through these. It doesn't take me very long at all. And so I've gotten to where I just don't use that much anymore unless I'm making other really specific bulk edits, but you can actually do a lot of them quite well in Etsy now without having to use another system, because Etsy has its own bulk listing edit, so that's not too bad. And then for this one, when we get down to personalization, we've got it again. This one is for a year, and so this is year established essentially as a Adobe mom. So in the box, I'll typically say, please enter the year that you would like for the established date. And then again, as an example, we could say 2023, and that is our personalization for this one. So we'll scroll down. This is all, again, the same, and so we'll say publish. Now you might be thinking, that's it. Now remember, we didn't bring over the extra personalization listing from Printify that's going to match this one. So if we refresh our screen here and get back into our active, if we come to this one that we just did, we're going to go to copy, because remember the other one that we did is just like this one, it just had these colored options instead. So we're going to copy this one because I want all of the other attributes that were there. We'll need to delete the designs that are in here, and then we're going to re-upload based on our other colors. And so this one, we want color letters, and this is the one that has the year. So the year established is going to be in the same format as the last personalization that we did. We'll delete the video that's in this one, and then we'll add in the correct video for this one. And then now, because all of these except for the color is the same, I might actually go rainbow on this one just because it's kind of a rainbow of colors, just for something different. All of these are the same, including when we get down to personalization. So really all we need to do is we need to link all of the updated designs in here. So again, because we're not doing as much, I'm getting down to this section a little bit faster, but that's okay. We can start linking what's in here, and then it'll start to load pretty quick. So those are all set, and we'll go to save. And so again, because our year established date is already part of this design, it's just a different color, all of that is ready to go. So our listing was really done just in a matter of time that it took for all of our images to upload. And then we're going to do it one more time, and then this time we'll use this one. This time it's going to be for the name, because remember we did a personalized version that was just like this, but instead of a year, it was intended to be the dog's name. So in theory, we could have also copied the one with the dog face. That would have been fine too, because this one was just right here and handy. We went with this one. So we'll grab our final batch of photos here, swap those out, swap out our video with this one, and then a rainbow. All of those colors are fine. If I wanted to swap out and try some different colors, I could. This one had red, and it also has some blue in there, so we could swap those colors if we wanted to. Otherwise, we'll scroll down, link our photos again, and then start grabbing as they load for us. Grab each of these colors. Again, I like having these linked. I pretty much do it for all of my listings. We'll get down here, and then we'll want to update the personalization directions. So we could say, much like the face one, please enter the name of the dog that you would like on the shirt. We'll use the same example of Duke. So that's good. Everything down here is fine, so we can hit publish copy. Once it's uploaded, we now have all 12 of our listings in a very short amount of time. And so the last piece that we're going to do is I'm going to go into this quick edit. And remember, these all still need tags. So one of the things that I like to do to make this a little faster, because remember, we copied the title and then we pasted it down here and then we added in a few extras. We could do that for each of the others, but I wanted to show you this other way that I quite often do it, and that is by using this quick edit. So there's certain things that aren't going to be as relevant. So like this wildflower, and then this one's not really monochromatic, it's not really cottagecore, but this one does have other keywords that are in here, and so I'm going to make sure I bring those in. So I might say Christmas Doberman. Remember, we only get 20 characters in our tag, so we've got to be a little creative with how we divide some of these up. So we could say Christmas Doberman, we could say Adobe Christmas gift, and we could say Dog Mom Christmas, just to kind of mix up some of our keywords, and again bringing down some of the things that we have here. So if we update our tags here, we can go to the next one, and same thing, we already have it ready. So if we do paste, and then I just need to get rid of the ones that aren't relevant. So if we do that, we've got Halloween Dog Mom, we could say Spooky Doberman, pulling in again different variations of keywords that we know are going to be relevant and also similar to what we've got up here. And then the last one, we could say Fall Dobie Dog Shirt, because that was one of our items up here. Update tags. And again, because we're using a lot of similar keywords in each of these, it goes a lot faster to do it this way than to try and recreate the tags every single time. It's easier because some of these we just want to have some common threads throughout, and so these all kind of work and make sense for that. So this one, giving myself 4 extra ones. So we have Camping Doberman could work. I can say Mountain Doberman. Again, I'm replicating and keeping similar what is up in the title. The last one could be Hiking Dog Mom. We'll update that. Grab our tags in here. Paste again. This one is relatively simple, so we're going to delete some of those. And we could say Doberman birthday, because we've got a little less to work with here. And then we could say dog sweatshirt, see if that fits. It did. And then for one more, we could say Doberman owner gift, and that fits fine. Update tags, move on to the next one. Paste that in. We don't need wildflowers. Retro is okay because of the lettering that we've got. So I'm going to pull those 3 out, and then I'm going to bring in some of our seasonal keywords and see what I can fit in here. So that one's a little long. So Thanksgiving, Dobie Mom, that one's a little long. So then we'll just shorten that based on what's available. We could say fall, Dobie, Dog Mom, that one fits. And then we could bring in that Thankful Dog Mom. Update tags, go to the next one. This one, again, we've got some similar themes here. What we could do, because we just did kind of a hiking nature one, we could actually come down here, grab the one that we just did, and then copy and paste that in. Again, it's okay to have the same tags in that case. It's not going to hurt anything. So if we come back down here, if we wanted to grab some of these. Actually, I'm going to grab this one because this one is more general. And so we'll pull that in. This has the collegiate, so I might get rid of a couple of these, and I might say collegiate dog shirt, and then I might say retro Adobe shirt. Update. Now when we get into these personalized ones, we're going to bring in, again, some specific keywords that we want to make sure we capture here. So I'm going to swap out a few of these. I like the dog face sweatshirt. I might get rid of some of these more general ones. And so I'm going to use two keywords. I want personalized in there. And I'm going to say personalized dog. We can go mom in this case. And then I want to do a custom Doberman shirt. That one's a little long. So we can say custom. We can actually look at our keywords if we want to. We had a couple here. Custom dog sweater was one of our strong keywords. So let's use sweater as that last one. And then we'll go with update tags. And because these next two are very similar, I'm going to copy these. I'm going to paste and add. Now these don't have a dog face on them, so I might check in with one of our other keywords. One of our other strong words was Doberman gifts. So let's add that one in here and see how that one goes, because we've got our personalized and we've got our custom. So we're going to go with Doberman gifts and we'll update that. And then for this last one, last two actually, we'll do that. And then we can use the same here because we did more differentiation in other areas and we've got different mock-ups in here and slightly different designs. So this is how, again, we can start to understand what's going to work best for our ideal customers. We know they're Dobie dog moms. We know some of their styles. We know what works for dog moms in general. We know what's selling well in those categories. So we're leveraging that information, creating a bunch of variations, incorporating some good keywords in there, swapping out a few, and then pushing those out. And now, because we've got so many listings out there, if we turn off exit quick edit, these are all done and ready to go. So we are done. We knocked out 12 listings and we have now really infiltrated Doberman dog mom searches, any sort of Doberman pinscher searches that are taking place on Etsy. We will now have infused a variety of our listings as part of that. Now, Etsy doesn't necessarily show all of our new listings all at once in the same search. Their algorithm is proprietary. We don't know the secret sauce behind it, but what we do know is that the more options that are there, the more options Etsy will show in those searches, because they're going to be testing the algorithm and seeing what gets the best conversion, what starts getting clicks from the customers that are searching on Etsy. So that is why having this kind of volume and doing these in batches and doing them in collective niches or sub niches or themes, when I'm working in batches like this, it pushes that volume out there so that I can start to see traction and get more information and data from those searches and views a lot faster. And just like that, we now have 12 new listings in our shop. Now, some people might say, don't list all of these in one day, spread them out, do one a day for the next week and a half so that you can show Etsy that you're active every day in your shop. My philosophy on this, if I've got them done, they're going up. Why? Because you can't sell a listing if it's not actively listed, period. The fact of the matter is, the longer those listings are hanging out in your drafts, the less time that they have to be active and getting traction in the Etsy algorithm. The algorithm takes time. It takes time for the algorithm to learn and understand what your listing is all about and who it should show your listing to in terms of customers and their searches. Don't lose time letting your listings that are ready to go sit in drafts. They're not doing you any favors, and I'd much rather have more listings going up on Etsy than the potential unproven myth that you have to have listings going up every single day. Etsy wants you to be active in your shop. That could be changing out titles, reviewing your tags and making some swaps there, doing some A/B testing by copying existing listings and making some changes, swapping out some mockups. That is staying active in your shop. It doesn't mean that you need to hold back on your listings in order to be active in your shop. Don't get hung up on feeling like you need to spread them out or that you can only do 1 or 2 a day. If you've got them, list them. Now, with all of the listings done, you might be thinking that this is the end of our time blocking series, but it's not. Because here's the thing, time blocking is a productivity method. It doesn't apply to just making batches of listings. One of the other major time blocks that I have in my day is what I like to call my housekeeping time block. Things like customer service, processing orders, checking in on tracking progress. I make sure that I set aside time every day to focus on that and complete those tasks. So that video will be coming up. And then I'll also have a video to wrap up the series and talk about how I pull all of these concepts together in my practical day-to-day, week-to-week work. How I set goals and how I make sure I'm achieving those goals with my time blocks in order to help my shop grow and so much more. So make sure that you're subscribed and stick around for the remainder of this time blocking series. You won't want to miss them. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you want to learn more about my strategies for thriving with your print-on-demand business, make sure that you got the notifications turned on for my channel so that you don't miss out on any of my upcoming content. And in the meantime, make sure you check out my dedicated playlist that has my full print-on-demand masterclass right here for free on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'm so glad you're here, and I'll see you in the next time block. And if you're looking for more ways to continue the journey and stay connected, I'm excited to invite you to my brand new membership, the Simply Thrive Club. Unlike other programs, this is not a course. In fact, it's not even a program in the traditional sense. And that's because all of the steps that you need to build your print-on-demand business can be obtained for free on my channel. My in-depth course is not behind a paywall. So instead, this new membership is all about community with ongoing challenges to drive growth and a support system for accountability to keep going. It's goal setting to maximize your pockets of time and stay organized so that you can thrive even amidst a busy schedule. And it's action taking with expert resources and tools available in order to master skills necessary for scaling faster and more efficiently. This totally new platform is a community that is off of social media, including a community app, over 60 plus professional mockups with more on the way. There are monthly accountability challenges because, did I mention I'm all about consistency? I've included the ability to request quarterly comprehensive shop audits, and there are live group calls each month where we can talk about all things print on demand, time blocking, setting realistic goals, finding process efficiencies, and so much more. Be sure to check it out, and in the meantime, keep going, keep learning, and keep growing in your print on demand journey.